20 minutes of more cut content found in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Laud the Blacksmith in Falkreath has cut dialogue, indicating that he would have had a different role to play in the game. Originally, he was meant to be a struggling farmer who lived at a farm called Gentle Repose. He wasn't very liked by the other town residents, and would be involved in some questionable activities to make money. There are 2 scenes in the Dead Man's Drink Tavern where he would have interacted with Tikla and Bolland.
Ah, Tikla, you're a pretty little mouse.
Leave me alone, Laud.
All right, but if you ever want to leave that old curmudgeon, I've got plenty for you to do at Gentle Repose.
Hey, Laud, how's the worst farmer in the hold doing?
The Gentle Repose is barren. It was barren the day my father claimed the land, and it's barren now.
Sure it is, Laud. Sure it is.
You would have been able to start a short quest with him as well, where he would have asked you to buy a book from him that he stole from a grave.
Hey, friend. You wouldn't happen to be looking for unusual items, would you? First off, let's keep this between us. I picked these up from graves in town, so don't go blabbing about it to Kust. You have to understand. Gentle Repose is a foul, festering place I should have left a long time ago. This is one of the few ways I make any money. Right now I've got a book that I think you might like.
If the player decided to take the book, an option would have appeared to turn in Laud to Kust, the keeper of Falkreath's graveyard.
I knew something was up. I'll make sure he doesn't disrespect this place anymore. Honesty is a rare thing to find these days. Thank you.
There's a cut character named Terek, who was supposed to be illegally living in Bree's home. He was supposed to be encountered when you first purchased and entered the property.
You're in my home. That's right. This here place, Bree's home, it belongs to old Terek.
Terek would refuse to leave and claim the place to be his.
Now, I don't care about no deeds or laws or other nonsense like that. This house was empty, so I settled in, and now it's mine. You can't kick me out of here. You want me gone, you're gonna have to kill me. I'm a generous man to those who treat me right. Might be I'll even let you live here with me, if you mind your manners.
The player would have had to physically deal with him in order to remove him from the building. After completing Innocence Lost, Angrenor, once honored, was to move in and start squatting in the Aretino residence. If the player interacted with him while inside the home, he would have had cut voice lines talking about the Aretinos liking him, and rumors about Aventus summoning an assassin there.
What? Were you hoping to claim this house for yourself? Well, the Aretinos always liked me, so I think I'm family enough to take up here. Rumor holds that Aretino boy brought an assassin here. Sounds like nonsense to me.
At one point, a cut location by the name of Bear's Cave Mill was to be found in the Falkreath hold and was to be inhabited by Eyldi the Bear, a legendary Nord hero of great renown, mentioned by Yorn in the Bard's College.
I've converted the classic tale of Eyldi the Bear to be performed with drums. I think you'll be impressed.
And by the Stormcloak guards if they take over Falkreath.
I grew up hearing songs about Eyldi the Bear. She wrestled a storm out of the sky.
Although there's no character model for the famed hero, there are some voice lines of her still present in the game files, indicating that the player would have been able to interact with her at the Bear's Cave Mill.
Come in, come in. Welcome to the Bear's Cave. Company's a rare delight. Stay a spell. Do the bards still sing of my adventures? Time was, the name Eyldi the Bear could make brigands flee for miles around. The world has changed since I was young. Let there be new heroes. I've earned the rest.
There's a cut quest for the Bard's College called Collecting the Edda. After completing the Tending the Flames quest, Gerard Gemain would have asked you to collect poems from various bards around Skyrim to complete the new Poetic Edda.
The Poetic Edda is never truly complete. As a living history of Skyrim, we bards continually add parts to it. In fact, if you collected parts of the Edda from any bard you encountered in your travels, I'd be willing to pay you for them. Wonderful. Just speak to various bards outside of the college, get their parts of the Poetic Edda, and return them here to me.
I suppose Gerard sent you for it. I was still trying to get the wording right, but here it is.
This is part of me. Guard it with your life.
I've got it right here. Just don't read it. It's not very good.
A total of 10 pieces would have been needed.
Wonderful. Soon we'll have the latest section of the Edda complete. Keep up the good work.
Captain Lonely-Gale, a resident of Windhelm, went through a major character change during development. While in the final game he's just a retired riverboat captain, he actually started out as a Stormcloak Alliance guard captain. There's still leftover dialogue from 2 different scenes of him reporting to Ulfric, one in regards to the Dark Elves in the city, and the other one on Viola Giordano.
What's the current spirit among the Dark Elves?
As restless as ever, sir. But I don't see them taking any kind of incendiary action. Not soon, anyway.
Well, that much is good. Let's finish this first war before starting the next one, eh?
Oh, yes, of course, sir.
Carry on, Lonely-Gale, and loosen yourself a bit. Captain, I've been receiving complaints about this Giordano woman.
Yes, sir. I've been trying to quiet her, but she's insistent. She thinks she can find out who's been killing the women.
I don't care if she can find a living dwarf. I can't have her stirring up trouble. We have enough problems as it is.
Yes, sir. I'll try to contain her.
See that you do. I will not let Windhelm descend into chaos over a few overactive imaginations.
Adisla, a farmer east of Windhelm, will also refer to Lonely-Gale as a guard captain while talking to Bellin, her employer.
So have you ever actually spoken to Captain Lonely-Gale?
By the gods, he's just a retired ship's captain.
Maybe to you, but he's just so... His story is...
He's just a guard captain, and not a very good one at that.
Xander, one of the Red Wave's sailors, has 3 unused scenes in which he would shop at various stores in Solitude.
Back so soon, Xander?
Can you make some new poultices for my... you know?
You should be more careful about the women you spend time with in port. Come back later and it'll be ready.
My tunic is fading. Too much sun and salt spray.
I doubt it can be repaired. You'll have to buy a new one.
I need some things for the ship.
If you give me a list, I'll have them delivered to the dock by tomorrow morning.
A cut quest exists in the Narzulbur Orc stronghold, where Chief Makulak has unused dialogue about his bad luck with his wives, and would ask the player to return an old flame named Uglars to him.
The mine is rich, and so are we. But I am cursed, it would seem, to live alone. I've had several wives, but each dies sooner than the last. I was lucky to get children out of the ones I did. I think of Uglars, an old friend. When we were little, she ran into the woods to hunt, and never came back. If someone found her, she would make an excellent mate.
Uglars would have been found camping in a forest area, where you would have had to convince her to go back to Narzulbur.
Mahulak. I remember him. Little scrawny fellow. Ha! Now that I would like to see. I may go back there someday. Always thought that old mine had more to it. Just like Mahulak to smash his way to good fortune. I'm going back to Narzulbur. Want to see how it's come.
After a couple of days, she would return and would become Makulak's new wife.
You're right about this place. And about Mahulak.
I am proud to have a mate to share in my blessings.
Urog and I still hunt a lot, so it's not like I'm cooped up in the longhouse.
All the other characters in the stronghold would have voiced their opinion on their chief's new mate as well.
All my arguing never predicted this. A woman for Mahulak, eh? We'll see how this goes.
Glad my father seems to have found someone. I just hope she can hold her own against my aunts.
Well, at least now Mahulak is nothing to whine about. Until this one dies too. Uglars is a great huntress. Perhaps she could teach me something new.
I think I like this new mate of my father's. I mean, nothing like that. I just think she's nice.
Cut miners hired by the College of Winterhold were meant to be present, working in and around Saarthaal during the quest under Saarthaal with their own unique voice lines.
As long as the college keeps paying, I'll keep digging.
For 1,000-year-old ruins, they're not much to look at.
Gods, it's cold. They better find something good in there to make this worthwhile.
Can't imagine what the college expects to find in here.
Windhelm was meant to have an arena where prisoners would have fought for their freedom, called the Pit. If arrested anywhere in Eastmarch, you would have been sent to the Pit to fight your way out of prison, rather than simply waiting out your time in a jail cell.
Alright, meat. It's time for you to earn your freedom. We don't just let people rot in cells until they've served their time. Here, you fight. If you win, you go free. If you lose, well, you'll know the freedom of Sovngarde if you're lucky. Alright, head to the Pit when you think you're ready.
You would have also been able to watch and bet on fights to make some gold.
Prove your valor in the Pit. If you haven't got any valor, prove your pocketbook.
3 cut professional pit fighters can be found in the game files as well, each with their own unique voice lines.
What I lack in strength, I make up for with tenacity.
I've been a lot of things in my life. Pit fighter's the one I'm best at.
You look mighty tasty. Better not stick around for supper.
Ulfric once tried to get me to fight for him, but marching bores me.
Boethiah's bidding was to be a second quest given to you by Boethiah. The Daedric Prince would inform you of a new objective, to assassinate the Jarl of Solitude, Elisif. It would have started immediately after killing the previous champion and completing Boethiah's calling.
And now you must perform the task for which I created you. You have already proven to possess the needed skills. Go to Solitude, stalk the Jarl, and slay her. I have spread rumors of an assassin. It will make your job harder, but will allow me to place blame where I desire it.
Upon entering the Blue Palace, you would have been force-greeted by a guard. He would have told you that the Jarl isn't receiving visitors.
I've been instructed to tell all visitors that the Lady Elisif isn't feeling well. She wishes you a good day, and please call again another time. I'm afraid you'll have to come back later. I've been given strict instructions that no one be allowed to trouble Lady Elisif. If there's someone in the palace who can speak for you and wouldn't mind walking you around, great. Lead me to him. Stay close and in plain view. No funny business unless you want a few inches of steel in your belly.
You would have been able to speak to Una and ask what's wrong with the Jarl.
She's locked herself in her room, not letting anyone in. Well, except for us servants. She's afraid of assassins coming to get her. Even still, I make a point of announcing myself when I enter her room now. I spooked her so bad last time she almost threw the chamber pot at me. Well, she needs to eat. I don't think she even knows where the kitchen is. And Milady isn't exactly going to remove her own chamber pot now, is she? Well, it hardly matters, though. The door to the stairs is securely locked. There's no way anyone without the key can get in, so don't you worry about it.
If you tried to open the door of her private quarters, she would tell you to leave.
I'm not taking any visitors.
The guards would become hostile as well.
Private quarters are strictly off limits. You have been warned. Protect the Jarl.
To access her, you would need to get one of the servants' keys and unlock the door. Once it's open, you would quickly need to assassinate her.
You have done well, my champion. You have earned my respect. A feat few manage and live to tell about it.
With Elisif dead, Thane Erikr would become the new Jarl, with new dialogue.
Quite fine, my friend. Quite fine. So sad what happened to young Elisif. Tragic, really. Such a young and pretty girl. Was in over her head, I'm afraid.
According to his script notes, Erikr would have been aware that it was you who assassinated Elisif, and would even erase your bounty if the Solitude guards were still after you.
Yes, I've heard about all that fuss. I myself know it's all a terrible, terrible misunderstanding. I'm quite sure you're innocent in all this. This one time only, I'll grant you special immunity for any past transgressions, real or perceived. But going forward, I'm sure you realize that your fate is in your own hands, and the law cannot be bent for personal friendships.
Guards in Skyrim would also comment on the assassination.
Filthy she-hound Elisif got what she deserved. Let her serve as High Queen of Oblivion for all I care.
First Torrig and now Elisif. Damn those Stormcloaks. Let's hope that Erica fares better than they did.
Runil, the priest in Falkreath, has cut dialogue about his past when he was serving under the Thalmor, and is afraid of what his friends would think of him if they knew.
Burying the past is much harder than burying remains. I'm afraid of what you will think of me if I tell you about the things I've done. Although I have not practiced in a long time, I was once a wizard. Even when I was young, my magic was undeniably powerful. It was that power that brought me to the attention of the Thalmor. In the Somerset Isles, it is a great honor to be chosen to serve the Thalmor. They are the governing council of the Aldmeri Dominion. They led us to attack the Empire, and forced the Empire to agree to stop worshipping Talos. It was during the war with the Empire that I was at the height of my power. As a Thalmor battle mage, I laid waste the enemy. Men, women, children. No one was spared my wrath. I destroyed whole villages. I dream about those days still, except I'm not me. I can see myself there, and I try to stop what I know is going to happen, but many of the Empire's troops were Nords at that point. Some of them could even have been from around here.
After learning this, you would have been able to tell Kust about his secret.
I knew he was troubled, but one of the Thalmor. I wish I could say I did not believe it. Thank you for telling me.
Runil also has cut scenes between him, Matthias, and Indara inside of the Hall of the Dead that never appear in the final game.
Ah, Indara. Arkay's blessing upon you and your husband. Spend as much time here as you need.
Thank you, Runil. Your support means much to us.
The temple is the one place my wife finds peace these days, Runa.
It is a hard time for all of us. I hope that you too can find some sanctuary here, Matthias.
The Staff of Magnus quest has 6 unused scenes of the Archmage Savos Aren appearing as a ghost. They were meant to play after the visions of the past.
I knew you'd come, eventually. It would seem I'm bound to this place. The bitter irony of it all. My greatest failure, and even in death, I can't escape it. I never meant for any of what happened here. Tried to seal it up, lock it away forever. But now it all comes out again.
It was initially intended for you to be guided through the Nordic ruin of Labyrinthian by his ghost, and the cut dialogue would have provided a more in-depth understanding of the tragic events that transpired there.
It was Atma's idea to come here at first. She talked me into it, and I convinced the others. We were sure we'd find it all here, hidden away from time, power, knowledge, all the things we didn't want to wait for. We thought it would be so simple. Girduin died first. It happened so fast, none of us had a chance to react. One moment we joked about what we'd find below, and next, he'd been ripped in half. And then we were all fighting just to survive. None of us were prepared. It was amazing the rest of us survived. When it was over, Atma, Hafnar, and I stared pale-faced at one another, unwilling to admit we'd made a terrible mistake. We could have turned back. It could have ended there, but we kept going. Elvali died here. I don't even remember what killed her. One of the countless faceless horrors. I think she was glad in that final moment. Hafnar was covered in blood, but his stupid Nord pride wouldn't let him admit defeat. I don't know why I pressed the others on, convinced them to keep going. If we can just make it through, it'll all be worth it, I told them. And the fools believed the words I myself didn't trust. There were only 3 of us left. Takes in Light just sat down and gave up, and we left her there to die. I've no idea what killed her, but I'm sure something did. Atma cried to herself. Hafnar wouldn't look at either of us. and I kept telling them it would be all right. I was in charge now. I pushed them on, insisting it would be worse to try and go back. What happened after was my fault. All mine. I had no choice. Don't you see? I had to leave them behind. Had to sacrifice them so I could make it out alive. If we'd all died there, if we'd loosed the thing on the world, who knows what might have happened? That's how I consoled myself for years, after I'd sealed this place shut and vowed never to let anyone open it. Now you've put it all to rest. But it can't undo my mistakes. They can never be undone.